Right. Hello, 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 everybody. S6 Photon here. There's been a bit of a controversy, a bit of a discussion in the Genshin community right now, referring to Baal and Beidou not being able to work together at all, which is, everyone is saying, completely horrible, and I completely agree. It is horrible that two characters with such amazing bursts that work so well together, being that Beidou has an a super that costs 80 energy cost, and Baal like strives off of high energy cost. But I want to take sort of a look at the other side of that coin and look at sort of why Baal's talent is counted as complete burst damage, because it's counted as burst damage, not normal damage, which is why Beidou doesn't work with her. It's not normal attacks, it's burst attacks. And sort of the reason why that's still really, really good, and why it's so unique. So, immediately when I think of Baal's, like, alt, a character that comes to mind is immediately Tartaglia, for the reason of his skill also changes his weapon, because he's a bow character, but he uses his skill and he becomes like dual wielding daggers. So, and then this becomes his normal attack. What's interesting about Baal's, though, is why would you use a burst to only get more normal attack damage? Like, it's a burst. At that point, then it's just not even worth it to level up the burst, because then you just level the normal attack. And either way, if it's burst damage, you level up the burst. If it's normal attack damage, you level up the normal attack. That's sort of how it went with Tartaglia. You would level up his normal attack and his skill, because the normal attack becomes his skill. So the thing about Baal is all of these percentages, all of these numbers, all of these increases, like every single one of these, it will increase like with burst damage. And the reason it's so interesting with burst damage specifically, burst damage, not normal attack damage, burst damage, is because of like some of her other talents. Like like right here, more electro damage because of more energy recharge. And her burst and all the normal attacks there within are, burst damage, are electro damage. So immediately, big boost there. Looking at her artifacts, so the 4-piece emblem of Severed Flame. Severed Fate, my bad. The 4-piece, immediately, more elemental burst damage. Not normal attack damage, burst damage. And just get more and more from the burst damage. So MiHoYo is really, like, hitting hard with burst damage, burst damage, burst damage. Even when the new event comes out with the catch is literally going to be Baal's like best 4-star in-slot weapon. Like, hands down, there is no comparison, especially because it's free to play. You can R5 it for free to play, so it'll give 32% more burst damage. Again, more burst damage. Every single attack that you do, all these numbers, all these multipliers get cracked up by another 32% when you are using the catch. So all this damage just keeps going up and up and up. And that's why I think that they made it so that this does burst damage specifically, because there's so many multipliers that add to that burst damage for just wombo combo hits. Like, it's nothing but burst damage. And it's increased even further because of her Transcendence Baleful. Again, elemental burst damage bonus. Another 26% per energy of her little ring that she charges. So this does have a base damage, which you could say like that would also get increased. Like if you just had that as the burst damage and then everything else as the normal attack damage, with just, you could say, just electro infusion. And honestly, that would probably be fine. But the fact that literally everything here, all of these multipliers, all of these hits, every single one is burst damage. And there are so many multipliers that just increase burst damage, like such as the elemental burst damage from her skill, such as her artifacts, such as her catch weapon. We don't have catch in the game yet, so I'm just using Lance for the energy recharge. And, like, you know, I'm probably going to get her to, like, 250. I'm happy at 200 energy recharge, honestly. But I'll probably try to get 250 because my artifacts aren't leveled up yet for Baal, because she just came out. But I think that people are looking way too much at the negative of, oh, you can't use her with Beidou, immediate trash. Which is just not the case, because she works well with so many other, like, characters. It doesn't have to be Beidou or bust. And I know we all just got a free Beidou from the past event, which is why it sort of feels kind of like a Beidou or bust. Thank you, Beidou. But with skills like hers, because she's able to throw out a lot of damage. That's the thing. Other characters' skills are just like Tartaglia's again. It's just a one hit. It's just a big burst. Like, that's it. Something like Rosaria's is one of those lingering bursts. Is one of those ones that'll stick on the field and do a little bit of burst damage. So if you use stuff like Noblesse with her, then that 20% will happen for every single one of her bursts. And if you wanted to use, like, Noblesse on Baal, I wouldn't suggest it. But if you wanted to use Noblesse on Baal, then again, that would be awesome. Actually, I might actually put a Severed Fate set on Rosaria now, because it would probably do a lot more burst damage, and she's mostly used for her burst. And energy recharge is great on her. But it's not a Beidou or bust kind of situation. I mean, the team that I have her on right now, like, which I think is an incredible team and probably one of the best teams for her, is, like, a Eula comp. And I love Beidou, or not Beidou, God. I love Beidou too, but I love Baal on a Eula comp specifically, because this spot used to be Fissile. Again, works perfectly fine, because you get constant electro damage, just constant Fissile, constant superconduct procs to just more physical damage. And I have a C6 Fissile, so it's even better. But what's awesome about Baal and about Shogun is that her skill with Eula complements it extremely well, because when you attack with Eula with her skill active, it is instant. It's not, there's no travel time. Oz has to, like, you'd have to move him around with you. If somebody, like, runs like 50 feet to the left, you gotta chase him down, and you have to keep proccing Fissile to get Oz back to you. And Fissile also has a really long cooldown on her skill. Baal does not. Baal only has, like, I think a 5 or 6 second, like, just not a long time on her cooldown, and it lasts for 25 seconds. It's less electro damage, but it lasts for so much longer, so much more superconduct, and so much more damage with Eula. Also, Eula has high energy cost for her burst, so it's really easy to get, like, max value from Shogun. Someone like Bennett and Rosaria, who also are purely built just to get a whole bunch of energy recharge and then dump their burst, will also be good, because then more burst dumping to get Shogun more strength, and also their skills also complement, because when Rosaria's thing procs, it will also trigger Baal's skill, giving more superconduct. You see, Fissile also can't do that. It doesn't proc on, like, regular attack, on burst attacks like that. It procs on normal attacks. Bennett, more damage. He's Bennett. Do I even need to say anything? He's Bennett. Bennett is Bennett. For even more damage. So I think a team like this is where Baal really shines with a Eula Baal comp. And there are other teams where she shines. This is just the one that I use, and the ones that I have characters leveled up to use her with. I know there's a whole comp with Shangling, Xingqiu, Ball and Bennett again, but I just don't have Shangling leveled up because I've been focusing on a bunch of other teams that just don't use Shangling, because I have technically three other Pyro DPSs, and Shangling is just not one of them. Because I got Diluc very early on in my game, so he was sort of the main focus. But I do kind of want to just, like, put that out there that, yes, Ball does not work with Beidou. Yes, that is really, really bad in terms of that specific comp, because Beidou works so well with anybody that does normal attacks as their main source of DPS, which is a lot of people in this game. But it's not Ball or bust. Ball works so well with so many other characters, in this case Eula in my case. And Ball herself has so many other, like, abilities, her skill, her own burst, her other ability that just...
It's hard to remain on dry land.
Is it? She has so many other, like, skills. More electro damage here. More burst damage here. Her artifacts, more burst damage there. So many... her goblet, more electro damage for her burst. Like, it's all just more and more and more burst damage. So, if it was normal attack damage, then all of those bonuses would just go to waste. Which, it would be probably balanced, I'd say. Like, in terms of, you know, you'd probably get equal damage from her burst as you would her normal attacks, which is fine to have a nice all-around good character like that. But I think, like, Ball being one of those burst type characters and giving so much energy to other characters that need that energy, like Eula, and just making it so I can just spam Rosaria and Bennett literally constantly, is, I think, something that a lot of people are just sort of throwing by the wayside, and they're just going with this or they're just going with this Beidou or bust mentality, which is not entirely true. But yeah, that's sort of I just want to sort of give my 2 cents on that. Where, does she work with Beidou? No. Is that a bad thing? Yes. But does that mean the character is trash? No. She is useful in so many other ways, and she has so many abilities that just make her abilities and burst damage incredible. Especially when we get the catch. Oh my god, when we get the catch, that'll just be another layer of why the burst is so good, and why it's so good that it does burst damage and not normal attack damage. So, that's just my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until the next video, I will see you all later. Goodbye.